Hi, welcome to D20 Epic Level. Like to go over some general tips here on, just basically how much RP and combat that you're supposed to be doing in any type of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, role-playing session. I think it has a lot more to do with your DMs talking with your players and finding out exactly what it is that they're interested in, because your players are going to be the epic center of your story and you want to involve everything around them. Get a little more information, maybe sit down, ask your players a few times to go over the information and find out really what they're looking for. But when I'm running my games and stuff, I basically turn around and I use a 60-40. So I usually do a lot more combat based. I gravitate more towards combat. But I spend about 60% of my session in combat, dealing with different encounters. So if you're running a game and you're playing with your different players and trying to figure out what's going on, you want to gravitate towards role-playing for majority of the entire session, but you also want to include a lot of combat because you're going to have a lot of people that are just not interested in the role-play style, and sometimes you do. It really just depends on your players. So I would definitely ask your players which one would seem to be more interesting to them, which one would definitely hold more grounds for them, and keep their interest entertained. Personally, I still think a 60-40 rule is good because combat takes a lot of time in role playing. And when you're spending a lot of time dealing with that, there is time for role playing, but it's kind of brought down to selective timing and whether or not you can include it in your group. Combat has a huge portion in the game for role playing in Dungeons and Dragons, but roleplay side of it is definitely something that you really want to focus on. Outside of the combat, 60% of combat, you really want to focus on that 40% and give the players time to do the treasuring, do the other stuff that they need to do, the conversations, the lore and everything like that. But a lot of players lose interest over time because they're just not used to continuously talking back and forth. I mean, they may be, but they tend to focus a lot more on the combat oriented power gaming and so forth. So role playing is very good. 40% of it seems to be a really good number that I think everybody should, stick to when you're being a DM. And 60% of combat, because again, the higher level you get, the longer your combats are going to last. When you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you have a lot going on in your entire campaign and you're trying to keep track of everything, that 60-40 rule is a great way to help slow down players. If they're trying to get around, they're doing a lot of moving, and they're just like beating through your stuff really fast. Adding more combat scenarios, slightly tougher creatures, definitely can improve the rate that you slow the players down and help expand your session. So it's a really good rule of thumb to have a 60-40 session. So definitely tell me what you think, and if this is something that you agree with, or maybe there's some other opinions that you have as a DM that you include in your campaign settings. I would love to hear about it. And don't forget to go check out my store at d20epiclevel.com.